from their encounters with races from other planets. The information is the activation. Let's awaken this world together. We are the forever students, and we will not be silent. We are the ones that we've been waiting for. It's pretty wild. Ooh, welcome everybody to Full Spectrum Universe. My name is Rob Yachts with the Embattled Broadcast in the great state of New York. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We are just a mere 24 hours from the beginning of the rest of your lives. This is going to be the best energetic workshop, hopefully, that you've ever been a part of. We are truly going to create a dynamic where we have this ability to essentially help others at an unprecedented level. We're going to be talking about things such as energy. We're going to be talking about quantum healing. We're going to be talking about reality matrix healing and all of that in details and the connectivity between the two. As of tonight, at probably about the next 3 or 4 hours, everybody who purchased a ticket is going to be receiving an email from my email account, which is robyox2525@gmail.com. It is going to be an information package. This is going to be some of the stuff that we go over, and I'm going to reference a couple of these items like charts and some of these tables that we have, so we can really get into, not just the perception of it, the science of it. And I'm going to tell you that right now. The science of it is part of the best part, because when we listen to scientists, they say everything resides in energy, and it's going to be awesome. So another thing I'm going to be doing tonight is we're going to be giving away one free ticket for anybody who has not purchased their ticket already, or even if you have, you can give this ticket to somebody else if you want to take part in the giveaway. I have not decided exactly how we're going to give it away yet. I'm not sure if I'm going to do a question or if I'm going to take down numbers and pull it out of a hat. All I know is that somebody is going to be getting a free ticket this evening. Now, another thing I wanted to mention about this information package, one of the things I'm going to do with this information package is I'm going to give the link to the event in this informational package. The link did change from the original link. Something happened. We had to upgrade a couple of things within the chat and in the StreamYard setup for itself. So there is an email from Eventbrite that is going out this evening that is going to have all of these tickets, right? So basically that's the link that you're going to be using, right? I've updated all of the information on the emails that are coming out, but also, again, just to make it easier for everybody, I'm going to use the information packet to also give you the link. So it's at the top of your email list. You go into it, you click it, and you're in there with us. No problems. So one of the things I also wanted to mention is we have Elmore's sending me something in the background about the giveaway portion of it. I'm definitely going to do that. We're going to get into that. Also, he has a show this evening with Augie coming up directly after this show. One of the things I wanted to get into tonight was the law of one. We talk about the law of one a lot. So I'm not going to go into detail what the raw materials talks about or what the law of one specifically states. What we're going to talk about tonight is we're going to talk about the basically an overview, a very, very easy overview, right? And what that's going to do is it's going to kind of keep paramount the things in the law of one that we have to, or we should be practicing, because this is something that we're supposed to be living by on a daily basis. Also, if we're talking about energies, this is one of the ways in which our energetics comes into play every day. So I wanted to kind of this is like a perfect episode for right before tomorrow night. Now, remember, I have 2 hours set aside for tomorrow night. I'm almost positive this is going to go over 2 hours. I have 30 pages of research that I'm going to be delving out, including practices, techniques. We're going to be going into, we're actually going to utilize those practices during the event. So, what that means is we're going to be going into exercises that are going to hone our craft and ability. And I promise you one thing at the end of this specific event. One, it is going to change your life. That's one. Two, you are going to be a classified healer by the time we finish. What does that mean? That means that you can go out anywhere, use these techniques, give them to everybody else who care, not like doesn't matter. Give it to other people, not who cares. It does, it does matter. But basically, this is going to give you the ability to affect change every day, every day. And you can go out and you can give this freely to people and it will help them, right? So what we want to do is we want to give back to our communities. And when we give back to the communities, we're going to see this in abundance come back. That's the way it works. So we're going to get into it a lot, and this is going to be some of the most comprehensive work that I have ever put together. I promise you that. I promise you that there is so much that goes into it. But when you get this information package, you can go over it first. Some of it might be without explanation, a little bit abstract or obscure at the time. But once we go into what it is, I mean, I've got you know, things that will inherently help serious conditions, non-serious conditions, pets conditions. I mean, we're going to affect the world on a third dimensional to fourth dimensional fold across all of reality, right? When we talk about reality a lot, we have the budding matrices of reality and what that truly means. So we're going to get into that a little bit too. But the reality matrix part is the implication of some of these quantum tools and also certain aspects of our own cognitive thinking. That's part of how we kind of recuperate the reality matrix part of it. But enough about that. I'm going to put the link into the chat for anybody who hasn't gotten a ticket and you want to make sure that you secure the few tickets that we have left. Secure your spot for the reality matrix and quantum energy healing workshop. So into the chat it goes. That is the link directly to ticket sales. If you use the promo code Forever Student, all one word, it is 10% off the ticket sale price for everybody. If you are a member of the channel, in the community tab on YouTube, there's a specific post that gives you your specific word to or promo code to get 20% off for those who I'm trying to give back a little bit more to those who support the channel all day, every day. So enough with that, right? Let's get into tonight's topic at hand, the law of one. The law of one. We all know the law of one. A lot of us have studied this in great detail. A lot of us have lived by this in great detail. So, one of the things I wanted to do is kind of do an overview. One of the things we have to always work on, and we're going to go into my opening salvo now. One of the things we always have to work on is keeping these teachings and practices in the forefront. Why? Because we have to use them, right? It's awesome to learn about this stuff. It's awesome to get into this kind of stuff. But to actually affect spiritual change, not just for everybody else, but within ourselves, which is the most important part. Once you create those spiritual changes inside of you, it has a direct correlation to others. So we have to keep these practices in the forefront of our mind. This has to be there when we're making decisions. This has to be there when we're thinking. This has to be there when we're trying to just bring about who we are and what our true soul purpose is on this plane, on this reality matrix, or this soul matrix, or this universal time matrix, whatever you want to call it. This has to be present, always present. Now, one of the hardest things for me to do, and I'm going to come back to me for a minute, was to implement these changes and make sure that I was going back daily to review those specific law of one concepts as well as universal law and natural laws. This is what I've used to hone myself into this person who follows these edicts without even thinking anymore. It becomes habit. And when we form these habits, we change who we are, we change the way we think. So this is part of the reason why bringing it to the front and center again is paramount. We have to keep doing this. This is one of the things that we're going to talk. We're probably going to be another 17 episodes on this over the next 10 years, right? But we're going to keep doing it. This is what it's all about. So For those of you who don't know what the law of one is, what is the law of one? The law of one is the comprehensive or the comprehension that all things are made of intelligent energy and are a part of the all one, right? What's the all one? Well, this is a word or term used for God or universe or whatever you see as your higher power, right? So the law of one contains sacred sciences which explain the mechanics of the Christ consciousness that comprise the natural laws that are governing the universal creation. All one is the recognition that the eternal truth is eternal love, and that the state of eternal love is the organic consciousness of the infinite creator or God source. So, eternal love consciousness embodied with basically within is referred to as a unity intelligence and is simultaneously recognized as the inner light of the Christos. Unity consciousness is that what is at one with God. And this unity consciousness is which ignites that inner light of the Christos held as an eternal flame within our sacred crystal heart. The inner light of Christos, when actualized into manifestation or manifest form, is the embodiment of the eternal God human that holds the title of a cosmic citizen and therefore is free, sovereign, and reigns over our own, propriety. Now, again, citizen is not exactly the best word I would use for it, but just so we can categorize it as something that everybody knows what it means. I know Omar's going to be in the chat like, don't, I'm not a citizen. I'm not a citizen. I know, but I know it. I said it and I was like, oh, it's not the right way to say it, but it's true. It's true. So, just to give us something to base this off of. So, when we're practicing expressing loving and kindness, we build unity consciousness that is directly reflected as the true nature, right? And the holy image of God's love and this inner Holy Spirit of the sacred heart flame that is eternally protected within all angelic humans. Basically, be at one with all as one is all with God. Every soul is taking the same spiritual journey, but each soul has evolved at different levels within the manifested timelines. The teachings of the law of one describe the spiritual laws that govern angelic humanity's spiritual evolution for each dimension that exists within the universal time matrix. It's a single philosophical system of world humanism, which merges cosmology, science, human rights, and spiritualism. Simply put, the law of one is the universal truth that all is one. It is the truth taught by Christ when he proclaimed, love your neighbor as you love yourself. And we're all the direct expressions of the one source, aka the God source. So the law of one is an energetic reality as well. And it's a creational covenant with the guardian host and the founder races. So much so that the Emerald Order, the Amethyst Order, and the Gold Order cosmic family entities of Ra, the Aurora host races, and the seven higher heavens serve the crystal star in order to protect spiritual sovereignty for all races throughout the reclamation of this Christos universe. So the law of one is practiced by the advanced races that promote self responsibility and accountability in our universal time matrix through the comprehension of the energetic interconnection that exists between all living things. So the law of one expresses and acknowledges the interconnection and value and interdependence of the spirit and consciousness that animates all living things. Living a lifestyle that expresses unconditional love to all creation brings true unity with the Godhead and develops the direct relationship with the God of your choosing. Thus, this is the promise of the Emerald Covenant gifted to humanity in order to achieve planetary liberation. And it's also the ascending path of the cosmic founders in order to achieve complete spiritual freedom from reincarnation cycles in the lower worlds during the ascension cycles. So this is what we believe, right? This is what we believe. All is one and one is all. And all is a part of consciousness and the unity consciousness. So we have to keep going back into this. We have to understand that. And how does this help us every day, right? How does this really help knowing this? Well, sometimes we have interactions where people don't act so godly or they don't act in reverence towards others. You can look back at them and you can say, you know, I may not agree with what your stances are or the way you're treating me right now, but I do love you unconditionally. I would do anything to show you that love unconditionally. Why? Why would we do that? Because it's the way in which we receive abundance back is by giving to those who may not feel the same way about us. In every ancient text, every ancient religion, they talk about this concept. Do unto others as thy would do to oneself, or do unto others as you would want done to you, right? And this is why we put that in motion. We know that our words, our thoughts are all energy. We're going to talk about that tomorrow night, but it's all energy. And when we exist within that energy and we give that energy out, it creates a reverberation, which means that it will bounce back in the same frequency or energy status that we give out. So we want to give it out to others, not because we want it to be returned, but because we want them to feel that unconditional love in hopes that it will help them in their day. If you ever notice, if you ever walk through, let's say you're at the grocery store, right? And you see somebody and somebody walks in front of you and or some situation happens where you begin to talk to somebody. Do you know how much effect that has at the end of the conversation when you say, "You know what? I hope you have a great day." Do you know how much that just makes people say, "Oh, well, you know what? You too." But it could be a totally screwed up situation. Something could have happened. But at the end, when you end that conversation like that, people, especially nowadays, people are surprised. They're like, "Wait a minute, what? What? Why would you be nice to me like that?" Like they think it doesn't come like that. So we have to show them that this is not the case anymore. Like we're that civilized. We're that much humanity, right? We have to give that back to them. And when we do, we usually get a smile back or a nod or some sort of gesture that shows that they've received that love, right? And that's one of the most important things. That's to me. I say that to everybody. I hope you have a great day. I really do. I hope you have a great day. And people are just shocked when they look at me. They're like, "Wait a minute, what?" "Oh, hey man, you too." Thank you." It's like building a bridge right there. So if I ever encounter this person again, they're gonna remember that. And it ripples, right? It ripples. It ripples. Discog said it the best. It ripples. It does. There's a rippling effect to all of it. This is why we have to keep this stuff prominent within our hearts and our minds. So let us keep going. Law of one practices. These are 7, and we're going to go over the entire list, and then we're going to go into each individual one itself. So, the first practice is unity consciousness, right? The second is love yourself. The third is love others. The fourth, love earth and nature. The fifth, be of service to others. That's a big one. Number 6, consciousness expansion. And number 7, which is the absolute epitome of what the law of one practices, responsible co-creation. That is very much a part of what we do. We create together, especially let's take, for example, me and Omar. We talk regularly and we always think of new ways to create, to co create together, to help us to manifest these ways of thinking and help people understand where we're coming from. Not so much for us, but for everybody else. And that's part of us giving back or being of service. By us doing our diligence and doing the research and some of this work, we're able to basically extend different modalities of thinking to each subject. Now, we might not be right, we might not be wrong, whatever the case. We're helping people to think, and we're giving it back to the to people to decide, and that's what we love. We love that. It's like a passion, and everybody here has that passion, and everybody here is of service to others. I know it. But it is part of responsible co-creating. There's certain things that we don't go into because they're very divisive in nature. So we try to stay away from certain topics because we don't want to cause negative ripples. We want to cause positive ripples. So we're responsible for that co-creation. We have to take that seriously. It's something that we've been absolutely bestowed upon with responsibility for that, but we do that and it's amazing. It's amazing, and I I I love the fact that the community comes together. That is like my like linchpin for doing this all the time is because we're all able to come here, hang out, talk to each other, go over stuff, and have a great time doing it. Right? We I love that. That is my most passionate moments, right? Besides, of course, my things I do with my wife and, the love I share with her as being my twin flame. You know, this is like my community part of what we do, right? And this is where I love to connect with everybody. And the best part is the chat. And I never truly 100% focus on the chat and I should, but I can't because I'm usually reading from something or I'm thinking about things. And the chat is where the most information is given back to everybody because of all of you putting information into the chat and different perspectives. That's how incredible the community is. The best place to be is in that chat. And that's why when Omar goes on, I go into his chat. When I come on, Omar comes into mine because we know that the best place is the chat. The chat's the best. That's where we have the most fun. And we have a lot of fun up here too, but we get to sit with ideas and contemplate and then sort of comment on it and see what everybody else thinks and say. And we have a lot of this is just it's all love all the way around. I love every aspect of this. I really do. And it's like never a chore for me. When it becomes a chore, I'll probably hang up this microphone and let somebody else do it when it becomes a chore. I just love it. And that's, you know, part of loving thyself and loving others at the same time. So before I went on that tangent, let's get back into what we're talking about here. So we're going to go over the practices individually now because it's better to expand on them, right? We could just say these things and it's fun, but let's go into them a little bit, right? So we have well, before we get into service to others, right? I want to say that this is like the term that we use, this Christ or Christos, is used in context, and it's not denoting the individual being referred to as Jesus or the Christ figures as taught through like world religions, right? Christos extends way beyond all meanings associated with planetary consciousness and actually describes a state of eternal consciousness. The title given to a free peoples across this entire dimension and every other dimension where peoples are free. So I wanted to just make that known because we say Christos a lot, and a lot of people believe that we're referring to biblical context. And sometimes we are, but sometimes we're not. And that's why we have to keep an open mind to the Christos mission. So, service to others. So we find ourselves uncomfortable, right, with actions of others. We can relieve ourselves by remembering to cultivate the right attitude towards self. So the law of one is the universal truth that all is one. Thus, one who participates or practices this understanding of the law of one acts and makes decisions based upon his or her awareness that every action has a consequence to the self and to others, but also to the higher self and things like that too. So, furthermore, one who exemplifies the law of one understands that when one person suffers, all people suffer, whether they realize it or not. So, as one self, God self, to be compassionate in action towards others is then to be in harmony and right with the right relationship to self. So, the basic principles of service to others include the following: individuals perceive the connection of love in all things and give unconditional love and compassion towards others. Individuals are dedicated to their spiritual consciousness growth and to help others with their spiritual development. It's kind of where we fall in, right? Me, myself, and Omar, and a lot of the people in the chat. So, individuals are dedicated to transforming negative ego thoughts through developing better behavioral modeling or patterns. Individuals also they also share information and knowledge with others as an open source in a unified cooperation. Individuals have a complete lack of concern for satisfying their materialistic ego needs or satisfying drives to the houses of ego. Individuals acknowledge that every person is a spiritual being on their own personal path of spiritual growth and discovery. Also, individuals are committed to experiencing a shared positive reality of world humanism with others on the earth. So, there's a key term there called world humanism. What is world humanism? So, the interpretation of the law of one in spiritual ascension context, it's a egalitarian philosophy, right? An egalitarian is a social philosophy that favors equality for all people. So, for evolving humanity towards humanitarian goals, we study ascension, and it is made of an evolutionary model for our planet and humanity to achieve spiritual freedom. The main focus is upon the inner spiritual study and reflection made upon the personal commitment to expand one's consciousness and benevolence towards life. As we expand our consciousness, we shift perspective to feel our interconnection with all life and become oriented to be of service or service to others, thus reflecting the inner truth. When we experience this all encompassing spiritual energetic connection, we inherently desire to practice human kindness and seek to collaborate with developing higher structures that place value on human beings, a value system of world humanism. So, this is part of what we talk about. The next concept we have to touch on before we get to the practices themselves is human rights. That's awesome, Omar. You got the weekend off? I do not. I will be working tomorrow, so I'll be sitting down at this computer at 8 o'clock and going on at 9 o'clock. It is going to be hell to pay tomorrow. We're going in. So, Human rights. Human rights are moral principles that describe certain standard of human behavior, right? They are the same in God's natural laws, the law of one. So, number one, I have the right to take care of myself and to protect myself from being threatened physically, mentally, emotionally, or spiritually. Number two, I have the right to set my own priorities and choose the manner I express to live on earth, as long as it does not intentionally harm others. Number three, I have the right to express feelings, opinions, and desires. Number four, I have the right to be treated respectfully. Number five, I have the right to create my own happy, healthy life based in spiritual purpose. And number six, I have the right to be given governance, sovereignty, and freedom, and be given the power to be in charge of directing my energies and life force. Those are the inherent rights of a human being or a consciousness as we go forward. So now we're going to get into practice one, unity consciousness. Okay, we got about a half hour. We're going to breeze through these and then we'll stop to discuss it for a little bit. And then, so practice one is unity consciousness. The law of one is the comprehension that all things are made of intelligent energy and are part of the all of one or all one. The law of one is a sacred science. We pretty much went through a lot of this, but this is all about the eternal love embodied in a form and its unity intelligence, and simultaneously recognizing that our inner light or Christos is unity consciousness at one with God, right? And it ignites the inner Christos inside of us. So when we actualize the Christos or the inner light in form, we're the embodiment of the eternal God human. So to practice unity consciousness and one is directly reflecting the image of God's love and is eternally protected. Again, we say, be at one with all, as one is all with God. So this is, we've gone over this a couple times, so I don't want to harp on it because we have to get through this. But Shelley said something that is profound here, and it says, keeping balance has been hard. Like riding a bike, though, you get better. And Stone, Kiara, and she's asking what country Stone's from. And I'll let Stone answer that part of it. But absolutely, it is a difficult process. This isn't something that just, it doesn't just happen overnight. It takes time, right? We need to really embrace, we need to embrace a lot of these practices and start to implement them consciously so we can embed them within our subconscious. A lot of when we talk about these things, we have to really try and put the motions into practice because what happens is we'll think about it now and then down the road we'll get back to what they call stink thinking or stinky thinking because we don't try and challenge ourselves to implement them for very long. I do it all the time. I talk about this a lot too. We're going to talk a little bit about this with that myself and Omar did. Omar came up with the idea of changing his subconscious mind by being cognizant of his conscious thoughts. And that was a long process, but it changed our perceptions in the sense that our brains don't go to certain areas anymore without being challenged or it's a momentary lapse doesn't we don't reside within those negative thought forms anymore. We address them, we acknowledge them, and then we go move on to the positive. And eventually when you have repetition, because it's going to come up a lot, that repetition is key, right? Repetition is key because after a while, your brain will automatically go towards that process. And that process will make sure that you don't reside within those negative, those negative moments. It'll take you right out of it. So let us keep going. Number two, love yourself. So apply the practice of unity with all one as an extension towards loving, honoring, and respecting yourself. Acknowledge the precious life force within by holding reverence and respect for yourself in all ways. Loving yourself in is the action of self sovereignty, which is the natural state of embodying God's eternal love. As a manifestation of God's eternal spirit of love, one has the ability to choose to create and the personal freedom without harming others. Have courage to remove the obstacles of pain and fear to become embodied in love, as God's spirit is always found within. So that is love yourself. Now we're going to do love others. Love others. As you learn to love yourself, love others. Acknowledge the precious life force in others by holding love, reverence, and respect for others. Loving others as you love yourself is the natural state of sovereignty as you give others the same reverence for their life as you give your own. Through practicing self love and loving others, no approval, worth, or esteem issues come into question. All is loved equally. Love earth and nature, right? Love earth and nature. So, loving the earth and all her creations, the kingdoms of nature, plants, animals, and minerals, which are all alive, conscious, and intelligent energy beings. Acknowledge the precious life force in all God's creation by holding reverence and respect for nature. Doing so restores balance and harmony to nature and the intelligent energy of all of Earth's creations. And this will respond to cooperate with humankind. Humans living in discord with nature create many events that are considered to be at the mercy of or the untamed force. As humans learn to live in harmony with Earth and the natural kingdom, the natural creatures will align to be in harmony and cooperation with all inhabitants. This is how we get to a point where we're able to communicate with animals, plants, the minerals, the earth itself. This is when we begin to have a reverence for it. You notice how I'm saying the same phrases over and over for the love portions. What I'm doing is I'm inherently pretty much putting it into your subconscious by repetition. That's why we're doing it that way, right? So be of service to others. This is a big one. Upon firmly loving yourself and honoring your path, find methods to be of service to others that do not overstep personal boundaries of discernment. Being of service to others does not include consumptive modeling, such as victim victimizer, parasitism, or emotional vampirism. Being of service does not hold an ego perspective of entitlement, expectation, or attachment. Practice being of service with unconditional love and naturally flowing in the moment. The exchange made between participants or participant beings of service to each other amplifies and expands the consciousness growth like no other method. The more you amplify the energetic field of being in service to others, the more joy, harmony, and gifts will be brought into your life. The more service you dedicate to God's plan or the law of one, the more spiritual support and spiritual presence one can exchange with the God force. That's a big one. That's a big one. So, some of what we're talking about with the energetic workshop is helping us be of service to others. And we're going to break down the walls of what it is to be a healer. And when you leave the event, you will have the tools at your disposal with practice to become an optimal quantum healer, an optimal reality matrix healer, an optimal shamanic healer, right? This is what we're practicing in this workshop. We're going to put method into practice and practice into preparation and preparation into giving back to the world, right? We're all going to be prepared to give back. That's why it's important to understand some of this. We're going to start at an entry level, like we're going to start at a finite beginner's level with energetics. And we're going to work our way out to quantum and reality matrix healing through practice. Through practice. So let us keep going. We still have to give away the one ticket that we're going to give away tonight. I'm not sure how I'm going to do it. I may ask a question and we'll see who can answer the question first. Or we can take numbers for the people who have not purchased a ticket, and we can put it in a hat, which I'm wearing, and we'll pull a number out. Maybe would be the best way to do it. I'm not sure yet. We'll figure it out, but we'll make it happen. So, consciousness expansion. Learn to develop inner clarity and spiritual integrity. By intending to develop personal consciousness or spiritual identity, to embody one's spiritual identity, one's mind must be initiated and disciplined. Initiations happen everywhere, right? If the ego is an authority of the body, it will repel the spiritual identity from embodiment. If the mental body creates obstacles to the spiritual identity, and the spiritual identity, therefore, the consciousness will not be experienced enough. The first step to consciousness expansion is to become aware of the mind control and the quality content of thoughts and belief systems. The second step is to cooperate with the processes of mental and physical discomfort by having patience and waiting in voids of silence. Learn to quiet the mind. Sublimate the ego mind and be still. Once stillness, mental discipline, and the ego sublimation have been achieved, listen to your inner spirit to receive guidance. Inner guidance will always lead to the process of a re education of experience, continual consciousness expression, free of the fear and dogma or dogmas. The inner Christos always guides one towards choosing the more love and peace via consciousness expansion of their spiritual identity. This is an important step. We have to work at this. Take 5 minutes of each day. Go through something of spiritual nature, whether it's a meditation, whether it's a book, whether it's Augie's book, right? Whether it's Paul Wallace's book. Expand your understanding and your awareness of everything. It'll help expand your consciousness and delineate your discernment and disseminate your ego. Very, very important. Very important. So, as we keep going, I didn't change the slide. Sorry about that. Here we go. Practice 7, responsible co creation. So, as one becomes more infused with the eternal love of the spiritual identity, the intelligent blueprint activates the divine purpose of a being as a co creator with God. The spiritual identity and the intelligent blueprint of the divine purpose are one and the same. Clarity of purpose and direction become clearer and clearer as one commits to live in service to the principle of all one or Christ Spirit. Knowing and living our purpose brings joy, peace, and fulfillment, even when facing adversity or challenges. Once we achieve direct knowing, and direct knowing is a feeling in the moment of what the energy is communicating or what the environment is communicating, right? We are responsible for that knowing and practice responsible co creation with all one. A responsible co-creator knows all manifestations are in partnership with the All One. We do not possess or control anything. So needs, desires, and superimposing of the will should be avoided. We are stewards of God's Spirit to serve others and responsible co creation with the All One. From this knowing and living this principle, we are eternally free of karmic exchanges. And that's that. So there's more to this presentation, but I'm going to stop it here because this is kind of what I wanted to go over. What I'm going to ask now is anybody who doesn't have a ticket, please put a 1 in the chat. If you have not purchased a ticket, please put a 1 in the chat. Is that nobody? Holy cripes. There we go. So here's what we're going to do. I've got Samantha, Stephanie, Nicole, Shelley, Amanda, and Gray Noise. Now, if I take this hat off, don't make fun of my hair because it's probably a mess. All right? So I'm going to give, I see 6 here as well. I'm going to give Samantha number 1. All right. Now we've got a few more. Okay. We're going to give everybody a specific number designated, right? Stephanie is going to be number 2. Nicole is going to be number 3. So remember your number. Shelley is number 4. Amanda is going to be number 5. Gray Noise is going to be number 6. Shane is going to be number 7. Leanne is going to be number 8. Now, I know this is kind of the boring part, but just give me a moment, and I'm going to make 8 identical sleeves of paper here. We're going to put them into my hat, and we're going to pull one out of the hat. But to do so, I was not pleasantly prepared for this. Leanne, you are number 8. Just so you know. Again, one more time. We'll do it for everybody. Samantha is number 1. Stephanie is number 2. Number 3 is Nicole. Number 4 is Shelley. Number 5 is Amanda. Number 6 is Gray, or Gray Noise. Number 7 is Shane. And number 8 is Leanne. All right, that's 8 folds. So now we've got 8 pieces of paper. Anybody else before we call last call on this one? All right, so we're gonna rip these pieces of paper apart. Again, like I said, I wasn't prepared, and I apologize to everybody. I know this is like whatever, but we're gonna have some fun doing this right now. It's gonna be a lot of fun. We're gonna write numbers on a hat, and I wanted you to see me do it because that's the fair way to do it, right? Do it in the moment. I was gonna do a question, but probably not the best way to do it. So we'll pick it from a hat. And if my lovely wife could come and assist me really quickly, please. because she is going to pick it out of the hat. I'm not going to be the one who picks it. My wife is going to pick it, and I will read out who it is. You will not see her on camera, for she does not come on, but you can hear her in the background. All right. Now we got to write down the numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now we got to fold them all up. So I'm going to ask this question. Now that we've gone over a little bit of what each law of one practices, what is it that you feel that you need to work on more, right? I put it into the chat so we can discuss it a little bit while we're sitting here folding papers. I think that myself is it's I feel like I have to love myself more, right? Sometimes I get frustrated with myself when I shouldn't do that. So it's something that I truly need to work on. But, what's everybody else feel? What's everybody else's thing to work on? Now, look, I'm folding them all the same way. So I have no idea who's who. And again, don't laugh when I take my hat off. Okay. My hair is matted down from this hat and it's going to, oh, my wife actually has a hat. Let me see the hat, babe. Let's put that here. Here, look. It is a white hat. You can't really see it. It's wild, this background. All right. This background loves to do that. I'm going to move the mic to the side. There we go. All right. Here's the hat, right? I'm not done folding it. Can you come over here, babe? See, they won't be able to see you. Don't worry. She doesn't like being on camera. So, and I understand. So, some people like their anonymity. I get it. I get it. Again, last call for anybody who wants to be entered in for a free ticket to this weekend's event, right? There is going to be one picked. Now, look, we have all the different, I don't know if you can see them all. They're all here. Into the hat they go. Come over here where they can see the hat. No, come here. You could come around. They're not going to be able to see you right here. Come on. See, there's the hat. All right. Shake it. Close it. Shake it. I don't want to see it. This is a fair way to do it. All right. There she goes. There's her hands. Her hands are on camera. All right. We're going to pick this one. And the winner is number 4, Shelly. Shelly, you have gotten a free ticket. So please email me at robyox, ROBYOX 2525 at gmail.com. And I will send you the information so that you can get a free ticket. Congratulations, Shelly. The wife was happy about it too. So thank you for everybody who participated. And, we've got a lot going on. Congratulations, Shelly. That's awesome. And there's a lot of things that are very, very upfront about this, right? Very upfront about what we're doing. And I think that there's a lot of things that need to be discussed when we talk about the law of one. The law of one is something that we don't always get, it doesn't always get to be in the forefront. So that's why we have to do these shows and kind of bring it up now and again. But so with all that, please like this, share this out. People need to hear this message, right? People they really, really need to hear this message. So you can give Shelly, you can give it to whoever you would like to. And she says, I can give my winnings to Gray Noise, please. Thank you. Woohoo. God's being funny today. Shelly, that if that's what you would like to do, that is up to you. You then I'll tell Gray to email me if that's what has to happen. But Shelly, email me too, because what you're doing, I would like to you know, I would like to thank you personally for that. So email me anyway, Shelly. And Gray, if that's what she wants to do, I need you to email me, please. Again, it's ROBYOX 2525 at gmail.com. And anybody in the chat, you know, and here's the thing, Gray, you don't have to be there tomorrow, right? This will be available on demand from any point into the future. Once it's live, once it's live, you'll be able to restart it or start it wherever you are. You can come in and watch it anytime. It's unlimited replays. So if you can't make it tomorrow, you watch it whenever you're available. Anyway, the email address again, and anybody can email me. It's ROBYOX2525 at gmail.com. I respond to emails. So both of you, please email me. We'll work this out. We'll figure it out. And again, I want to thank you personally, Shelly. It's really, really a great thing you're doing. And like this, share this out. Please leave a comment when this is finished. It's how we beat the algorithmic bugs, right? And I want you all to know that I love you all unconditionally and deeply. I do. We are here on this planet to create this change. Let's embody that change. Let's be that change every day. Every day. So, with all that being said, pay it forward. Love each other. Be there for each other. Support each other. We are a family. All of us. And I mean all of us, not just this community in the chat, but in the entire clause of humanity as a whole. We are brothers and sisters. Take that into consideration the next time you have an interaction with somebody. All right? I love you all. And I want everybody to love one another and to have an amazing rest of the evening. With all that being said, my name is Rob Yox. This has been Full Spectrum Universe. If you purchased a ticket, we'll see you tomorrow. If not, we'll probably see you on Sunday. Have a great night, everybody.